Okay, so now that my neighbors are done screaming at each other, I think it's safe to record. I wanted to share a little insight that I had. Yesterday or last night I read this article. It was talking about how Ted Nugent was bragging about killing, I think it was around 350 feral pigs from a helicopter with, I believe, is a fully automatic gun of some sort. Anyway, in the article, he was quoted as saying, well, he was doing it to cut down on the feral pig population there in Texas, and how it has an impact on the environment or resources. Anybody that hunts regularly knows that the whole thing about cutting back on invasive populations of animals to help the environment and to keep things in balance in nature. Of course, that's one side of the story, which has a lot of sense to it. But then there's another side that says, okay, well, if there were more resources to go around, then nature could sustain higher populations of animals. Unfortunately, humans are taking up a lot of these resources, so makes it to where we have to start killing these animals earlier and earlier as time goes by. But anyway, Texas does have a feral pig problem, so he was doing his part to take care of it in the most enjoyable way that he could find, which was hanging out the side of a helicopter with a fully automatic rifle of some sort and mowing them down. Which, whatever. I don't think it's the most humane way for him to kill them. I would think a rifle, high-powered rifle with a good scope, and taking them out with headshots would be a lot better than a spray and pray ballistic assault. I mean, if he really wanted something like that, he probably should have went to Vietnam to get his fill of that type of ballistic debauchery, I guess you could call it. But anyway, la-di-da, whatever. So, I could see his point with that, and, whatever, raise awareness however you want to, and, but then he had to make a big stab of, oh, take that, all you pig lovers and you animal lovers, and, a big, he uses a big fuck you to liberals and anybody that cares about animals. And this comes to the heart of what I want to address here. I've been trying to figure out what drives him to say a lot of the hateful, angry things that he says. I think with people like Ted Nugent, we've got him, and there's a lot of other people that pretty much keep their names in the spotlight by saying mean things, mean-spirited, angry things towards people, like him, Rush Limbaugh, and Coulter, even Glenn Beck, although he's kind of learned his lesson, he's toned himself down a tad. There's a lot of people who really push this type of dialogue, and of course the logical thing behind it is well, this is how they make a living. They're paid to say insane, hateful things to piss off people that their viewer base dislikes. If you piss off the liberals by saying something crazy, you get better viewership. So, I know that's part of it. They're just trying to eke out a living, peddling hate in any way that you can. But I think, anybody could do that for a while, but eventually it's bound to get old. Unless it comes from somewhere deep inside yourself. I think it's a bit oversimplified to say that this is coming out of a need for money or a place of greed within their hearts. I think it's actually goes a little bit deeper than that, especially with Ted Nugent. I mean, he's had all the attention that he could stand. He's a famous rock and roll star, all that over the years. So it's not like anybody's going to forget about him. It's not an ego, not a matter of ego, I don't believe. It's not a matter of trying to stay relevant enough to make money, because I believe he's set when it comes to that. I think with Ted Nugent, it comes to there's something inside of him that makes him feel inferior in some way or scared. People, even all the way back into our school years, there were always people who lashed out angrily, bullied people with mean words and actions. And when it comes down to it, it's always centered within some sort of deficiency that they perceive within themselves. They're trying to compensate for something that they find lacking within themselves, that scares them. And, I mentioned something about this on Twitter yesterday, and of course somebody joked and said, well, he must have a small penis. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but even if he did, I don't think that would be enough to explain what's causing this type of behavior. I think deep within Ted Nugent's psyche, there's something that terrifies him, something that scares him that he doesn't want to face. I don't know if it's trauma as a child, or he got picked on, or I can't even speculate on something like that, but it has to be something that keeps him lashing outward to draw his own attention away from inside of himself. And with that, it's very easy to hate on people, to be like, well, Ted Nugent and Rush Limbaugh and Coulter, people like this are just a bunch of assholes. They're mean people. We should hate them. And I can understand that, and I've felt that way from time to time. Even though I hate the word hate, I don't claim to hate anybody. Hate is a very poisonous word. I don't like to use it, but I think if we really want to get to grips with this and with how to perceive these type of people, I think it would be a disservice to ourselves if we just decide to hate them. I think if you claim to be a good person, whether it's a good Christian, a good Buddhist, a good agnostic, or a compassionate atheist, or whatever your personal belief system is, or your personal code of ethics, if you claim to have compassion, then you have to take the time to look past the simple black and white definition of a person, even if they really piss you off. And I think it would be a disservice to ourselves as compassionate humans to automatically hate these people or label them in a black and white manner. I believe what we need to do is understand that this type of behavior comes from a deficiency within the person. It comes from a place of any external exhibited hate and anger ultimately comes from a place of fear within one's own self. And I think we'd do good to understand this. So with Ted Nugent, it may be easy to just label him as a boisterous asshole. And you know, it is comforting to think of him as such, but when it really comes down to it, we have to realize that within people like this that say these hateful things and then turn around waiting for praise and applause from their viewership, we need to realize where this behavior actually comes from. Especially if we hope to overcome these types of mindsets within our culture, we have to take the hard road to realize that this comes from within themselves, and not take the easy way to just label them and hate them. So anyway, I guess that's all I have to say on that. I just wanted to share that little bit of insight. I know it'll change the way that I view these people when they say things in the future. Now, it won't change me speaking out against the bad things they say, but it will give me more insight as to what's actually causing the problem. And hopefully, I don't know how, don't have half the answers, much less all answers, but hopefully over time it will help me learn a better way to address these types of people and their behavior in the future. So thank you for listening. If you have any thoughts, critiques, any additional insights, feel free to share them in the comments. And y'all take care of yourselves. Thank you.